What's up, Techno fam? Just a quick video for you guys today with my final thoughts on the REL T9X. I had two of these were sent in a little while back, actually, and they've been in this room for quite some time. And then I just did some evaluation up in the big room upstairs. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. Before I begin, I want to thank all my patrons on Patreon. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel and helping me acquire some of these pieces that I just have to buy. So thank you guys so much. If you want to become a patron, help out the channel, check out the link down in the description. All right, some basic stats here. We've got a 10-inch woofer with a 10-inch passive radiator on the bottom, right? So front firing woofer and passive radiator on the bottom, and a 300-watt Class AB amplifier. Now, most subwoofers will be using a Class D amplifier, so it's interesting that REL went this route. And for some people, they think that's great that it's an AB amplifier. Some people probably don't like it. I don't know. Now, if you want like a full list of specs and like all that other kind of stuff, I'll put a link to my previous T9X video down in the description and with the card up top. But for the most part, let's get into my evaluation. And before we begin my evaluation, they are on sale right now for I think $250 off. So they're down to $1249 each. And if you want to check out what REL subwoofers are on sale, I have a link with all of them that are on sale right now. And I think there's more in the HT line, like the HT 1508s that I have upstairs in the living room. Those are also on sale along with the T9X and that whole series. All right, so for my evaluation in here, this room is 1,200 cubic feet, right? It's 11 by 14 with 8-foot tall ceilings. Now, I have a lot of people always ask me questions. I have a room that's, 15 by 10, what kind of subwoofer should I get? Or how big subwoofer should I go? And really, you need that third number. You need the height, you need the volume, you need to know how much cubic feet, how much air that subwoofer is gonna have to move for you to get a good experience in that room. And in this room, I had one subwoofer here in the back of the room, and I had the second T9X up at the front of the room here in this little space down at the bottom there. And like in this room, let's see, I had it connected up to Anthem MRX 720. I had it connected up to a Denon 6700, and I think I had it connected up to the Yamaha when the Yamaha was in here as well. And in all of those situations, like those two subwoofers for this size room, cubic foot wise, whatever, was just nuts. Like it was shaking the crap out of this room. My wife was like I watch a couple of like movie clips in here and I go upstairs and she's like, damn, what were you watching down there? Because it was just crazy. Like it was just shaking the out of this room. And she would notice it upstairs while she's watching whatever, TV that she's watching as well. So that's definitely good. And I did have a different experience though when I moved up to the living room. Now the living room is like, if you imagine a rectangular prison with a triangular prison like on top of it, right? The right hand side of the room, 8-foot tall ceiling, left hand side of the room, 16-foot tall ceiling. So it's a big angled slope, it's like a, like a triangle. So it's a rectangle and then a triangle on top of it. We're talking about 4,300, a little bit more than 4,300 cubic feet. That's a lot of air. And that doesn't even include the kitchen it opens up to or the stairwell that it opens up to. That's just the like living room area, right? 4,320, something like that, right? So a lot. So dual 15s, no problem. Dual 10s, I really have never reviewed a 10-inch subwoofer. They've always been 12-inch and above because I already knew for the living room, we're going to need something bigger. And for the most part, that seems to be the case here as well. Not that the, subwoofers are bad. And even though they do have that 10-inch passive radiator on the bottom, there's a little bit of trouble moving a good amount of air in the living room. And I already knew that. Like, that room is just way too big for two 10-inch subwoofers. So if you're thinking about these subwoofers, they're on your radar for your room, whether it's a 2-channel music room, like 4,300 cubic feet, this room is way too big. Way too big for these subwoofers. And like here in this room, 1,200 cubic feet, these two subwoofers are too much. So we've got 4,300 cubic feet too much for these subwoofers. 1,200 feet is too little of a size for these two subwoofers. I would say somewhere maybe between 2,000 and 2,500, maybe 2,300 cubic feet. Probably be the sweet spot. So if you have a room that's like 2,000 cubic feet and below, I think two of these guys would probably rock that without issue. Now I have them running upstairs, connected up to the Pioneer LX505. I ran direct room control again, and then, went into listening to music and movies. And I gotta say, music, like tight, punchy, articulate bass. I loved listening to the classics, Hotel California, a little bit of, The Weeknd, and of course, some Giorgio Moroder, some Daft Punk. When I went over to movies and tried out, my favorite things like, the sine wave bass drop in, Lord of the Rings and all that kind of stuff, there was definitely something, left to be desired in that large of a space. When I did it here, the same scene, like, it was great. So again, like, your space is going to be the determining factor on, how much, bass you're going to get from this, or you're going to perceive, or whatever. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, REL subwoofers aren't rated to go super low, but if you are a person that likes DSP, like, they can still get pretty low. Like my HT 1508s, they don't go down that low, but when Joe did some DSP in his Magic Bean settings, we got those two to like hit 15 hertz with authority. So yeah, they can do it. And if you like to add DSP, then you'll probably be, pretty well off with these guys. Of course, room size dependent. And I didn't really have any space for these up in the living room, so I just kind of put them in front of everything. I had a little IR extender so we can control all the components. One of the things I do like about these subwoofers is that they are actually pretty small. That's one of the coolest parts. Like, they are very, very compact. So if that's another thing that you're looking for, compact, if you like that black gloss, I kind of don't, but whatever, to each their own. I know a lot of people were complaining about all of the REL logos on the feet, on the subwoofer. That's like logoed out. Oh my gosh. And I think it's just something that, people just like to complain because, well, people like to complain. However, when you're sitting, wherever you're sitting in the subwoofers, wherever it is, you don't see it. Like in the studio here, I didn't see any of the logos. I think you can kind of barely see the logo on the actual driver while the grill is on, but that's really a non-issue in my mind. And in my evaluation, I was using these with the new Focal setup that I have going on. So I've got 10 Focal speakers, 5 ear level, and then 5 height, for Auro 3D, whatever, in running these two subs connected up LFE to the Pioneer LX505. I did not use the high level input. I was actually very surprised about the amount of bass coming out of these guys. Again, not as much impact as I would have liked, and that's just due to the room size upstairs. But down here in a smaller room, like, man, crazy bass, crazy. So very impressed with these compact subwoofers. I don't think they're considered compact, but man, they look compact. I think my dog is like taller than the subwoofer, and I got small dogs. They're tiny. Anyway, I definitely think if you have a room that's around 2,000 cubic feet and you're looking at getting one or two of these, preferably two, you'd be totally happy with the results. Whether you're going 2-channel, no DSP, or you're going like, 5.1, 5.2, 7.2, 7.2.4, whatever. I think you'll be happy with the home theater aspect of it in the right sized room. Anything bigger and you'll be like, I should have got something with a 12-inch or 15-inch. But again, my living room is ginormous, so 2 15s, much better than 2 10s. It all depends on your space. These subwoofers are definitely very well made. A lot of quality parts. Like, you can totally tell, like, there's a lot of attention to detail. The bass is great. And the added benefit of having that 10-inch passive radiator is that, you don't get any port chuffing sounds. So that's nice. No farting from the subwoofer. I love it. Again, if you guys want to check out what REL has on sale, click my Amazon link down in the description and see what is up. Well, that's it. Quickie review. and I am done. And these guys are going back. So, yeah, see you next time. Peace.